stand on the edge of Pearl Harbor, where the water glints under the Hawaiian sun, calm and unbroken. The breeze carries the scent of salt and tropical blooms, and the distant hum of a tour boat is the only sound breaking the stillness. It's peaceful here today, a place where families stroll and visitors snap photos. But close your eyes for a moment and let the quiet fade. Imagine the sky torn open by the scream of dive bombers, the water erupting in fire and steel. On December 7, 1941, this serene harbor became the crucible of a nation's awakening, a day when the world changed in a matter of hours. How did a place so tranquil become the stage for one of history's most devastating attacks? And what warnings, whispered in the months before, went unheard? Welcome to Battlefield Journeys. Today, we walk the shores of Pearl Harbor to uncover the stories of courage, miscalculation, and sacrifice that echo across time. To truly understand history, we don't just read it, we go to the places where it happened. So come with us, step onto this hallowed ground, and ask yourself, what does it mean to stand where the fate of a nation hung in the balance? You're standing now near the USS Arizona Memorial, a white structure floating above the water like a quiet sentinel. Beneath it lies the wreck of the battleship itself, still resting where it sank, a tomb for over 1,000 men. The harbor today is a place of reflection, dotted with memorials and museums. Tourists pause to read plaques, their voices hushed. But the peace you feel is deceptive. This was once a fortress of American power, home to the Pacific Fleet, a symbol of strength in a world edging toward war. In 1941, the harbor buzzed with activity, sailors scrubbing decks, officers plotting courses, the hum of a military machine confident in its might. Yet, beneath that confidence, cracks were forming. Warnings were mounting, and no one saw the storm coming. Let's step back to the world of 1941. Tensions with Japan had been simmering for years. You can almost picture the map spread out in Washington, D.C. or Tokyo, with diplomats and generals tracing lines across the Pacific. Japan, hungry for resources, had invaded Manchuria a decade earlier, then pushed deeper into China. The U.S. responded with sanctions, cutting off oil and steel, the lifeblood of Japan's war machine. By mid-1941, the two nations were locked in a dangerous standoff. Here at Pearl Harbor, the U.S. Pacific Fleet was a deterrent, a show of force meant to keep Japan in check. But the distance between Washington's calculations and Tokyo's ambitions was growing wider. Walk with me now to Ford Island, right in the heart of the harbor. You're standing where Admiral Husband E. Kimmel, commander of the Pacific Fleet, once stood, scanning the horizon. Kimmel was a seasoned officer, respected but burdened by a fleet stretched thin. Across the Pacific, Japan's military leaders, like Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, were planning something audacious. Yamamoto, a brilliant strategist who'd studied at Harvard, knew a direct confrontation with America's Navy would be costly. But he also knew Japan's survival depended on crippling the U.S. before it could fully mobilize. From this very island, Kimmel received reports, fragmented, vague, of Japanese movements, submarine sightings, diplomatic breakdowns, a coded message intercepted but not fully understood. These were the warning signs, scattered like puzzle pieces no one could fit together. Now, let's pause here, on the edge of Battleship Row, where the great ships once lined up, their guns gleaming under the sun. Picture a young sailor, let's call him John, from a small town in Iowa. He's 19, maybe writing a letter home to his sweetheart, joking about the tropical heat. John doesn't know that, thousands of miles away, 6 Japanese aircraft carriers are steaming toward Hawaii under strict radio silence. The operation, codenamed Z, was a gamble of staggering scale. 350 planes, launched in waves, aimed at the heart of America's Pacific power. The Japanese fleet sailed undetected, their pilots trained to strike with precision. Back here, John and his buddies were focused on routine. Drills, repairs, maybe a weekend pass to Honolulu. The warnings, those faint signals of danger, never reached them. It's December 7th, 1941. Just before 8 a.m., you're standing on the deck of the USS Oklahoma, the water lapping gently against the hull. The sky is clear, the morning calm. Then, a low drone grows louder. You look up, and the horizon is alive with planes, hundreds of them, their red sun insignias glinting. The first torpedo hits, and the world explodes. The attack comes in waves, dive bombers screaming down, torpedoes slicing through the water, machine guns strafing the decks. The USS Arizona, just down the row, takes a fatal hit. A bomb pierces its deck, igniting the ammunition magazine. A fireball engulfs the ship, killing 1,177 men in an instant. You can almost hear their screams, the deafening roar of destruction. John, our sailor, is scrambling, trying to reach a gun, to fight back, to survive. Picture the chaos. Sailors leap into the oil-slicked water, some burning, some drowning. Officers shout orders over the din of explosions. On the USS Nevada, a lone battleship tries to make a desperate run for open sea, only to be battered by bombs. At Hickam Field, across the harbor, planes are caught on the ground, reduced to smoldering wrecks. The Japanese pilots, disciplined and relentless, press their attack for nearly 2 hours. By the time the last plane peels away, 8 battleships are sunk or damaged, nearly 200 aircraft destroyed, and over 2,400 Americans are dead. Another 1,100 are wounded. The harbor, once a proud anchorage, is a graveyard of twisted steel and burning oil. Let's walk now to the edge of the water, where the waves are gentle again. Imagine the silence that followed the attack, broken only by the crackle of fires and the cries of the wounded. Medics worked frantically, pulling men from the water, their hands slick with oil and blood. Nurses at the Naval Hospital, some still in their Sunday dresses, tended to the dying. One nurse, Ensign Ann Doss, later wrote of holding a sailor's hand as he whispered his mother's name, then slipped away. Families in Honolulu, waking to the sound of war. The landscape itself bore the scars, ships tilted at unnatural angles, airfields pocked with craters, the water choked with debris. Why did it happen? The warnings were there, but they were buried in bureaucracy, miscommunication, and disbelief. Intelligence reports of Japanese aggression were dismissed as posturing. Radar operators on Oahu spotted the incoming planes, but mistook them for American bombers due back that morning. Diplomatic cables, hinting at Japan's intentions, arrived too late or were misinterpreted. The U.S. had underestimated Japan's resolve, its willingness to strike first. Standing here, you can feel the weight of that miscalculation, a failure not of courage, but of imagination. What if someone had connected the dots? What if the fleet had been on high alert? The conditional hangs heavy. Could this harbor have been spared? Now let's approach the USS Arizona Memorial, its white arches stark against the blue water. You can see the oil still seeping from the wreck below, small bubbles rising after all these years, like tears from the past. The names of the fallen are etched on a marble wall, 1,177 souls, frozen in time. Walk a little further, and you'll find the USS Missouri, where Japan surrendered in 1945, ending the war that began here. These ships, one a tomb, the other a symbol of victory, bookend the story of Pearl Harbor. The attack was a tactical triumph for Japan, but a strategic misstep. It woke a sleeping giant. Within hours, America was at war, its people united in a way they hadn't been before. The harbor, battered and broken, became a rallying cry. Remember Pearl Harbor. But the cost was staggering. Families across America received telegrams that shattered their lives. In small towns like John's, gold stars appeared in windows, marking the fallen. The local Hawaiian community, too, bore the weight. Martial law followed, and Japanese Americans faced suspicion and internment, a dark chapter born of fear. The harbor itself was transformed, its waters dredged, its ships salvaged where possible. Yet some, like the Arizona, remain untouched, a permanent reminder of the price paid. Stand here now and look out across the water. The memorials around you aren't just stone and steel, they're a call to remember. Pearl Harbor teaches us that peace can be fragile, that vigilance matters, that the human cost of conflict lingers long after the guns fall silent. The sacrifice of those who died here and the bravery of those who fought back reshaped the world. It's why we come to places like this, not just to see history, but to feel it, to walk where they walked, to honor their names, to carry their stories forward. As you leave Pearl Harbor, take one last look at the water, the mountains in the distance, the quiet beauty of this place. The names on these memorials aren't just history. They're a reminder of the ideals we hold dear, paid for in blood. What will you carry away from this place? How will you keep their memory alive? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Tell us about a family member who served or a battlefield you think we should visit next. Because to remember is to honor, and to honor is to ensure their sacrifice was not in vain. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Until next time, keep walking the paths of history with us.